It was just after midnight when I heard the faintest whisper brush against my ear. "Mommy, we have to leave now." At first, I thought I was dreaming. My son, Eli, stood beside my bed, eyes wide, trembling, clutching his stuffed bear so tightly I could hear the fabric stretching. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" I murmured, sitting up. But before he could answer, something in his expression stopped me cold. His eyes weren't just scared, they were terrified. And then, I smelled it. That faint, metallic scent that doesn't belong in any home. A mix of cold air and something foul. Something that made my heart stop pounding so loudly I could barely hear his whisper again. "Mummy, he's inside." Please do make sure to subscribe, like and share to support us for more stories. I'm not the kind of woman who scares easily. I'm a nurse, a single mom, and a survivor of more nights than I care to count. But that night felt different. The air itself was heavy, like the house knew something I didn't. We had just moved into the old Baxter farmhouse 2 months earlier. It was cheap, too cheap for a 4-bedroom house in that part of town, but I told myself it was a fresh start for me and Eli after his father's death. The first week was quiet. Then came the small things, footsteps upstairs when we were alone, whispers through the vent, Eli's toys turning up in the attic when neither of us had been there. I brushed it off. I had to. When you're raising a 7-year-old who wakes up crying at 2 a.m. for his daddy, you learn to smile even when you're scared. But tonight, there was no brushing it off. I slid out of bed and motioned Eli to stay behind me. The floorboards creaked under my feet as I listened, every nerve on edge. Then, from the hall, came a faint dragging sound, like someone pulling something heavy. My pulse spiked. I reached for my phone. No signal. We lived on the outskirts of Pine Hollow, and the reception was always bad at night. "Eli," I whispered, "go get your shoes." He didn't move. Instead, he pointed toward the hallway. "Mommy, that's where he is." I wanted to tell him he was imagining things, but before I could speak, the shadow moved. Long and slow, stretching along the floorboards, the unmistakable outline of a person standing just beyond the doorway. I froze. My breath caught in my throat. "Who's there?" I called out. No answer. Just the steady rhythm of breathing, not mine, not Eli's, deep, deliberate, and close. "Mommy," Eli whispered, "that's the same man I saw last night." Last night? The words hit me like a slap. Eli had woken up crying, saying someone was standing by his window. I checked the whole house, found nothing, and told him it was a nightmare. But now I wasn't so sure. The breathing stopped. Then 3 slow knocks on the wall. Knock, knock, knock. That was enough. I grabbed Eli's hand and yanked him toward the back door, my mind racing. The car keys were on the counter, if I could just reach them. But the kitchen light flicked on by itself. The man was standing there, or at least something was. He was tall, gaunt, wearing a dirty gray coat that hung off him like rags. His face was pale, almost white, with eyes so hollow they didn't look human. He didn't move, didn't blink. "Who are you?" I demanded, voice shaking. "What do you want?" He tilted his head slightly, as if studying me. Then his lips parted, and in a voice that didn't sound real, he whispered, "You shouldn't have come here." Before I could react, the lights flickered once, twice, then went out completely. Eli screamed. I pulled him close, fumbling in the dark. The only sound was the man's footsteps, slow and deliberate, retreating, not toward us, but toward the basement door. Then came the creak. The door opened, and something or someone started crying down there. A child's voice. I should have run. I should have grabbed Eli and fled. But something in that cry, that broken, pleading sob, stopped me. It sounded just like Eli. For a moment, I stood frozen, torn between fear and disbelief. Then Eli tugged on my sleeve. "Mommy," he whispered, "it's him. That's the boy I told you about." "The boy?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He nodded. "The one who talks to me at night." Every muscle in my body went cold. I crept closer to the basement door, the crying growing louder, echoing up from the darkness. I couldn't see anything, just blackness so deep it looked alive. I turned on my phone's flashlight. The beam barely reached the bottom steps. Then I saw it. A hand, small, gray, reaching up from behind the furnace. I screamed. The light flickered again, and suddenly the hand was gone, but the man was back. He was standing at the bottom of the stairs now, staring up at me with eyes that burned like coals. "She's awake now," he hissed. "You shouldn't have woken her." And then the house began to shake. I don't remember grabbing Eli. I don't remember running outside barefoot into the freezing air. But I remember the sound, that deep, rumbling groan from beneath the ice, as if the house itself was crying. We ran to the car, slammed the doors, and I turned the ignition. Nothing. Dead. Eli was sobbing. "Mommy, it's her. She doesn't want us to leave." I looked up at the window, and there she was, a little girl, maybe 6 or 7, pale as moonlight, hair tangled, face pressed to the glass. She was mouthing something, over and over. "Help me." I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then, just as suddenly, the house went still. The lights flickered back on. The door swung open by itself, as if inviting us back inside. Something deep inside me, mother's instinct, maybe madness, made me go back. I told Eli to stay in the car and lock the doors. When I stepped into the house, the air was heavy and cold. I followed the sound, faint now, almost a whisper, back down to the basement. And that's where I found the truth. Behind the furnace was a small wooden door, half-rutted, nailed shut. I pried it open with a rusted shovel and found a small skeleton wrapped in an old blanket, a faded pink hair ribbon still tied in her hair. The police came after dawn. They said the house once belonged to a man named Baxter, who'd lost his wife and daughter in 1989. The wife's body was found in the woods behind the house. The daughter's was never recovered. Until now. They said I was lucky, that I'd escaped with my life. But when they left, I found something under Eli's pillow, a small pink ribbon, and a note written in a shaky hand. "Thank you for helping me leave." Eli hasn't spoken about that night since, but sometimes I hear him whisper in his sleep, soft, almost gentle, as if talking to someone. And every time I walk past his room, I smell it again, that faint, metallic scent. It's been 6 months since we left the Baxter house. We live in a new apartment now, bright, modern, safe. At least, that's what I tell myself. But last night, I woke up to Eli standing beside my bed again. He was smiling this time. "She says thank you, Mommy," he whispered. But she said he followed us. And before I could ask what he meant, there came that sound again. 3 slow knocks on the wall. Knock, knock, knock.